2020. We're joined here by BJ, Sylvain, Jorge, and myself. We're going to kick this meeting off by acknowledging some friends of Add-ons. So first, I'd like to say thank you to BJ for sharing an article that was published last week on ZDNet about malicious crypto extensions on Chrome. We did a little bit of further digging into some of the information provided by that article and the Medium blog post by the person who kind of identified some of those malicious extensions and some of the behaviors of some of those extensions. And we were able to do our own investigation into Firefox to see if there were any malicious crypto extensions available for Firefox. And we did find some. So thanks so much, BJ, for helping keep us all safe. I really appreciate that. Again, if you see any news about that in the media, please feel free to share it with us. We're always happy to look into it. And the other group that I would like to just give a friendly shout out to this week is we had a number of really strong applicants for this round of outreachy, working on some AMO projects. And they did some really lovely contributions. So one of them re-enabled the developer comment section on AMO. We had a couple other folks come in and make some great bug fixes to other parts of the AMO front end, the AMO server, and a lot of folks helped update Extension Workshop as part of their contributions to Extension Workshop. So I just wanted to say thank you all so much. It was really great to have a lot of folks come in, a lot of folks making their first pull request to an open source project as part of their outreachy application. And it's kind of, as somebody who very recently submitted a first pull request, it's not insignificant. There's a lot of stuff that you have to kind of figure out to be able to do it. So I'm very proud of everybody who came and contributed, and thanks so much for spending some time with us. Okay, I had a couple of discussion and update items for this week. BJ is right. I had initially put a line in the agenda asking folks to share an image or a GIF of how they're doing right now, or an emoji. And then as I was desperately looking for images of Tina Fey eating sheet cake, I realized that maybe we could skip the GIFs part. So just imagine the Tina Fey GIF. Yeah, so how are we all doing with COVID?
Well, my grandson's staying with us since Friday, which is why the baby is here, 1 month old.
Mm-hmm.
So it's keeping us busy.
Is he letting you sleep?
We take turns.
Okay. Very cool. Sylvain, how's it going with you?
All good on my side too. Working from home. Stay safe. Yeah. Not going out besides walking the dog. So yeah, it's going great.
Cool. Okay, awesome. Yeah, it's going okay here. I think some days are better than others. Hopefully we'll have a couple of good days this week. But yeah, I do feel like I just need to eat sheet cake all the time. So that's how I'm doing. Cool. Okay. Well, I thought I would just catch folks up on some recent happenings in case there was something that folks might miss. So the team has continued to work on building out web extension support for the new Firefox for Android. So 6 more extensions were enabled last week. So big thanks to the Phoenix team for making that happen. You can read about that more on the blog post that Philip wrote, so check it out. We're still continuing to work on building out web extension support, so if your favorite extension was not enabled in this last round, don't panic. We're still working on building support for other extensions. And also stay tuned for more news about that. Again, our priority is on the recommended extensions list for at least this period of time while we're working on the new Firefox for Android. And just stay tuned. We're still kind of evaluating whether or not additional extensions can be supported. Has anyone gotten the new update of Firefox preview with the new extensions enabled?
I'm not sure how to check.
Not sure how to check. I think you have to go into the add-ons manager and see if they're available there. I actually don't have an Android device. I should get one to test it out. Due to some like rolling update issues, it may still be another week before you get the updates.
Yeah, I only have AdBlock is available.
Only. Okay, got it. Well, when you get them, let us know how it's going. Hopefully they're doing really well, but definitely look interested in feedback. We've also deployed some new text for non-recommended extensions. So this is something that we've been working on ever since we launched the recommended extensions program, is we want to be able to find the balance between helping users understand the risks that they assume when they install an extension that isn't part of the recommended program, and also making sure that we keep the ecosystem open and helping developers who are not in the recommended extensions program and who have not developed malicious extensions succeed. So we've been fine-tuning this for a while. I would imagine that fine-tuning efforts are going to continue, but in this latest iteration, the warning text is reading, this is not monitored for security through Mozilla's recommended extensions program. Make sure you trust it before installing. So we're hoping that that makes it a little clearer to folks, kind of what it means that this extension is not part of the recommended extensions program. You know, just asking that they trust the developer and don't just like blindly install the extension. So again, if anyone has any questions about the recommended warning, or if they have any, if they're receiving any feedback from users, please get in touch with us and let us know, and we can continue to work and refine this. We had definitely heard from a number of developers recently with the old warning that users were reaching out to them with questions because they were seeing that warning. So we just want to be mindful of what the current state is with users. So those are pretty much the two recent happenings that that folks are seeing. One of the things that we've been wondering on the team for developers is what kind of mobile first programs do you think could be solved by extensions? So this is a conversation that we'd love to kick off, and we have kicked off with a number of our recommended extension developers just to get their thoughts about what kind of extensions they would be interested in building kind of from a mobile first perspective. But I thought I'd ask folks on this community call if they had any ideas. And as always, there's no need to answer right now, but if you have any thoughts, please feel free to get in touch with us. We would love to hear from you, and that'll help us kind of figure out what to build next for extension support. So yeah, just throwing it out there right now. Anyone, any thoughts come to mind with this? Okay, no problem. So we'll just keep circling back to that over over the next couple of months while we continue working on Firefox for Android. The next thing I wanted to do is I wanted to share just a little bit of some of our findings from the add-on monetization research with folks. So this is going to be a pretty high level kind of overview of what we found during some of our research. It's not going to go into too many specifics, and I do think that we're going to be taking the research that we conducted and trying to write up something a little bit more for, particularly for developers, to kind of let them know what we found and what they might be able to do to, you know, how that might impact their own monetization efforts. So let me go ahead and start a new share. Oh, whoops. Never mind, we don't need to start a new share because it's just on the next tab. But yeah, pretty much every developer that we talked to kind of had three problems around kind of three major themes. One of them was payment friction. So either having problems with payment processors or users in certain areas being left out of payment processors, or users contesting donations through payment processors. So there's definitely a little bit of wonkiness happening there. Discoverability and marketing was a big issue for pretty much everyone we talked to. So if you're in the recommended extension program, you kind of have a little bit more heightened visibility for folks to be able to find your extension. If you're not in that program, it's a little bit harder for people to discover your extension. And so we want to be cognizant of that, because if it's harder for users to discover the extension, it's going to be harder to monetize that extension for and actually get payment from those users. And then kind of another overarching thing is that users are accustomed to free content. So add-ons have traditionally always been free. I know with Chrome, Chrome enabled in-app payments a couple of years ago. So users may be more accustomed on Chrome to being able to kick a few dollars to unlock something over in Chrome. But certainly for Firefox extensions have always been free. And I think this is something that we see with a lot of internet services in general, is that people are used to things being free. So it does require a little bit of work to kind of like let users know that, it's people spend a lot of time and energy building products and features that they love, and that they may need some financial compensation for continuing to be able to bring those features to users. So we noticed that users kind of fall into one of two categories when it comes to making the decision to financially support an extension. So they'll either pay for features or services, so the extension provides a thing behind a paywall that they need access to, or the extension itself will be linked into a paid product, like some sort of CRM system that kind of just helps connect them to their, they have their CRM connected to their browser. So they'll make a payment through that method, or they'll kind of notice, oh, hey, I love this extension. It brings me a lot of value. I use it every day. I'd like to support the extension developer. And so we've kind of broken that off into two pieces, paying for features and services or donating to support individual developers or development teams. So usually when the decision to donate comes in, it's for extensions that are not being developed by like a larger company, like a large well-known company. It's usually things that look like they're pretty independent. So in either case, though, the users will only pay for extensions if the extension, if they feel that the extensions provide a lot of value for them, that they can't, either a feature that they can't get anywhere else, or a feature that isn't available for free somewhere else, or something that like radically transforms their browsing experience. So extensions need to be able to justify why they're financially supporting an extension. And so just a quick note on donations, because we know that there's a number of independent developers in our community who are asking for donations from users. So when we talk to folks, we discovered that when users decide to donate to support an individual developer, it usually takes them about 3 or more years of them using that extension pretty much every day for them to make the decision that they want to financially donate. And then when they do make the decision to donate, that donation amount usually isn't that high. So we're talking about less than $25 USD in most cases. Obviously, there are some outliers. There are some folks who kind of know going into something that they want to support the developer. But it does seem like it does appear that it takes a lot of time. And I bring this up because when we talked to a lot of extension developers, there were some differing reports about when the best time to ask a user for a donation was. So some people thought that you needed to ask them during the onboarding step. Some people thought that you could only ask them during an update. It actually appears that having some sort of consistent messaging throughout the user's life interaction with the extension is necessary, just so that the seed is planted, but it's going to take a lot of time for the user to make the decision to go ahead and support the extension. A couple of users that we talked to did note that they felt like they wanted to support individual developers, and when things were kind of framed from the perspective of, hey, support the independent developers who are working on the software that you love, they felt more inclined to make a donation. So if you're working on any messaging around asking people to donate to your extension, you might try that angle and see if see if that gives you any more success. So I guess that was all that I had prepared for kind of like this high level sharing. Does anyone have any questions about some of this research?
The 3 years is interesting. Was there any study about how many times they have to notice the extension? If you use something for 3 years and don't realize it, it's different from if you use it for 3 years and they pop up a monthly reminder, or they put your name in your face.
Yeah. That's a really good question. So probably more research is needed and to really like fine tune those specifics, but it did seem like it was 3 years. It was something that they knew was providing them value. So it wasn't something that was operating silently in the background. It was something that they knew was doing something to enhance their browsing experience. And then with some sort of either messaging in the product itself or a periodic reminder. So we saw a couple of cases where people would, if on the change log, so when an extension updated, it would pop up a new tab with kind of a change log and have a, excuse me, I swallowed my coffee the wrong way, change log, and then it would pop up a link to make a donation, and it would make the ask at that time. Some people would ask at onboarding and then just kind of have a little link built into the like the extension settings itself. So anytime you went to go toggle your settings, you would kind of see a very discrete reminder. Users in general, we found preferred it when there were kind of more like tasteful and discrete asks rather than something that was always in your face. So I think pushing for donations at every update, especially if you're a heavy updater, probably not recommended. But users did seem to need those reminders to make the donation. It just took them a really long time before they decided. Yeah. Okay. So like I had mentioned before, we're going to try to write up a little bit more we're going to try to write up a little bit more about the research and offer some guidelines for developers. So just keep your eyes open for some announcements for that in the upcoming months. We're also taking a look at some things that Mozilla might be able to do to kind of, make the monetization ecosystem work for both developers and users over the next year. So we're currently in the thinking process about that. So when we have a little bit more to share, we'll be sure to do that. But in the meantime, we thought it would be helpful to kind of share a little bit of the research findings and see what we could do to help developers out. Okay, cool. So those were all the things that I had flagged to share for this week. Jorge, is there anything that you'd like to add?
No.
Okay, very cool. Sylvain, BJ, anything that you'd like to add or share?
Sounds good to me.
Nothing.
Okay, very cool. Well, we'll give everybody 10 minutes back. Thanks for joining us today. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. We're happy to help as best we can. Yeah, take care, stay healthy. We'll talk to you all soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.